I need to create an intro. Hello, welcome to Planet Collingwood here on Studio A, Revolution Radio. Big thank you to Why Not and Co for the Y-Files. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to freedomslips.com or revolution.radio and donate what you can. Click on the Patreon button. Just $3 or $5 a month. If you want to pay $50, it's $5 a month and you get 2 free. See how that works? And then once you've donated, because we are 100% listener supported, 100% volunteer, and then pop into the Zazzle store and buy some merchandising, and then after that pop into a feverishly moving chat room. However, it's Planet Collingwood, so I'm sure that will grind to a halt because they're laughing so much and they can't reach their keyboard. Greetings, my fellow divine co-creative celestial beings of the now. Just ticking off some boxes there spiritually. Tonight's show is brought to you by Q-Heal. Q-Heal.com for hypnotherapy and QHHT practitioner. I'm actually recording a audiobook, and the editing takes for hours because me speak badly. But yeah, if you're in Melbourne or Sydney, and we'll get to Melbourne, don't you worry about that. Hey, stupid. Give Paul a call or an email and set up a lovely session. I did it, and it changes your life. You talk to your higher self, you ask yourself questions, you get answers that you need in the moment, and so I'm not going to win the lottery. However, that's a good thing because the spiritual contracts for that to happen, just go out there and create. We are creative beings, and I've been joined by a creative being. Cortek, are you there, my friend?
G'day, hello, is it working?
Yeah, now it is. Yeah. Did you feed? Do you have a PC? Did you feed the? There's a guinea pig working feverishly on a wheel somewhere.
Every
in a small box.
single week he's late, and every single week he stuffs it up. That squirrel.
Yep. Yeah. So you got to upgrade to a mongoose. Get a little treadmill, little towel and.
I like that. I'd like to. I've seen some creative taxidermy with mongooses riding snakes, riding cobras, and stuff like that. It is fantastic.
See, creative beings. That's what we are. We create, and that's how we can get out of this alive. Ironically, the body. You may drop bodies, but
do you know anything about taxidermy?
It's kind of freaky. Who wakes up at the age of 5? You know what I want to do is I want to take dead animals. Remove all their insides and stuff it full of cotton wool.
I want to taxidermy the cat, but the cat's still alive. I know.
No. Get the cling wrap. He'll be glad for it. Hey, an Australian pun. Hey, thank you very much. So, all right. Before we get into 45 minutes of cricket, because I really want to drive those numbers down, tens of people will turn off. Slight news here in Melbourne, Victoria. Apparently, our lockdown has been extended by another week.
Why?
So it just turns into just another 2 weeks. Lockdown 4.0. And if we go to 6 lockdowns, I've run out of Die Hard movie titles to lampoon.
2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah,
I don't know. They got to keep saying things, or people would think they're just making it all up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no connection that the state of emergency powers were going to cease on the 4th of June. No connection at all. Because it's really here's a story. A man in Adelaide. There's more. There's a man in Adelaide. That's brilliant. I
like the pause. Do more of them. It builds gravitas.
Excellent. A pregnant pause where the Millennium Falcon can fly through. Welcome to Planet Collingwood.
Just like John.
Yeah.
Laws.
Nice. See, look, we should make this more Australian so we can get Australians to listen. It is 4:00 in the afternoon on the East Coast. I'm not sure how the American cousins were like, what the hell are they talking about? What the hell is a John?
We've got an accident on Pacific Highway, headed up to the freeway.
17 lanes are blocked. Amy Schumer has fallen over. Anyway, moving on. That's just not nice. That's a you're fat shaming. No, it's a shame that you're not skinny. That's what. I will get to that.
That's a fair call.
Yeah. Apparently, just before we get to Melbourne, because it's kind of dark, but on Twitter they keep sharing TikTok videos, which is great because I don't want to go on TikTok. But there was a large woman, freedom of will, free choice.
Can you call a woman portly? Because it's a semi-reasonable, respectful way to address a fat man.
I don't know, because I just thought of well, is that where she bathes in the port? No. Moving on. She was basically saying, apparently, if you are attracted to skinny women to make love to, that's not a preference. That's fat phobic.
Oh, fat phobic. That's a new one.
Yeah. So, basically it's like you have to have sex with fat people. But what if you're not attracted to them because they're morbidly obese?
I think
that's
I'm
a medical
fat-phobic.
term.
Monty, I think I'm fat-phobic.
Yeah, well, so am I. Well, it's like, it's not going to be really good mud laving, love making. Mind you, I should write that down. Mud laving. Hey, baby, you want some mud laving? What the hell are you talking about? I don't know. It's, if you're not attracted to someone, certain things don't work. So, if you find someone attractive, guess what happens?
Stuff
being
works.
male, stuff works. And being male, you usually can tell it's easy to see when a male's aroused because there's a small towel rack right just below the equator there. It's like, I'll just put my hand towel there. Thank you very much. But it's this thing. Most people saying it's not because you're fat; it's because you're a narcissist. That's the responses, and a lot of the Jabba the Hutt gifts as well. Because she was talking to the camera like we're 5, and if you want to get into a canoe or get something, she brings up kayak or canoe. That's a preference, but not having sex with a fat girl is fat phobic, and it's like,
is she? Really? Does she happen to? She's a bit portly herself, so she's kind of biased for the argument, isn't she? It sounds like.
Yes, she has her own gravitational pull. Let's just put it that way, yeah. And some chubby chasers. That's I'm not making that up. There is a term that some people like more grip when they're going for it, but.
There's as many horses for as many courses as there are out there.
Yeah, that is
no one
true.
is to feel bring out the shame word. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. The thing is that because Joe Rogan has a great philosophy. The difference between hot and beautiful. It's when when a girl looks hot, take off the clothes and the makeup, and they're not. But beautiful doesn't matter what they're wearing or what they're not what they're wearing. They're beautiful, and they can put on a garbage bag and they look beautiful. It's like you see,
derelict.
And so this young lady could be attractive, but she's treating everyone as a 4-year-old and being a narcissist. So good times.
Try and steer clear of that one.
Yeah. And then apparently another large lady was charged for making shit up. That's the legal term on Planet Collingwood. She accused 15 men of rape.
That's a lot. Like at the same time, were they like?
No, I think it was a case by case basis. The thing is, though, someone shared that article on Twitter or something, and it's like, well, finally some payback because believe all women. Well, not if they're lying, which makes the women who are abused and trying to find help. It's very hard because you've got the liars out there being all bitchy like. Yeah, however, someone quoted underneath. Yeah, someone quoted underneath. Yeah, it looks like a 15-man job. That's harsh but fair. Now, so what else is harsh as fair is technically my boss at the moment. We've been joined by our Costa Rican correspondent, because I like saying the word "C" in this voice. Bruce MacDonald, how are you, Bruce?
Oh, I'm good, Monty. Hi, Cortek. How you doing?
Hey, Bruce. Good, thanks.
Yeah, let's keep it funny. The moment the funny leaves, I'm gone. I can't deal with any seriousness. Super busy now. Tax season.
Yeah, I can't deal with seriousness. So what are you doing with your taxes?
Yeah, I'm like a bookie in the Soprano family a week before the Super Bowl now with this with this shred writing, man. This is crazy. I live in the rainforest in an earth bag house, and I'm working like a New York week here. You know, it's nuts, right?
Without the urine, feces, and drug dealers. So, you know, there's an upside to it.
Yeah, just a few snakes.
Well, we'll just navigate through the slight seriousness of Melbourne, just for a moment, and you can take the piss out of it because we've hit levels of ridiculousness.
How could you tell it's got to those kind of levels? What was the first sign?
Well, apparently now, in the last 24 hours, the media, who hopefully, if there is a spiritual court of equity that will take the case, are forcing everyone into fear, which is lowering their immune system. They're all people getting sick. So hopefully they get their comeuppance. Apparently, we've got a new variant of the coronavirus, and you can walk past someone, and it's just a fleeting moment, and it can jump from one person to another.
Oh, it's like a flea now.
Yeah, and I'm still like, so if you walk past someone in a grocery store, you can contact the virus that quickly, and it's like, wow. Do you know the word desperation? That's what it sounds like.
Has the science changed, or?
Yeah, again. Well, that's 136 times in the last 18 months. And so they're ramping up the fear, and we're extending lockdown for another 7 days, so it's 2 weeks. And where have you heard that before?
Shysters. Total Recall, original Total Recall.
Yep, and 2 weeks on Mars.
2 weeks.
Well, what I'm dealing with on this planet, I wouldn't mind just 2 weeks on Mars, obviously with a breathing apparatus, and I mean,
your eyes popping out.
Yeah, nowhere near the Halliburton compound, but just hang out with the natives. Just that would be good. And and of course they're ramping up the vaccination thing, and it's like, well, free will, and I've decided that I'll make a decision about the vaccine in October 2022 because apparently that's when the trial ends.
They don't care if no one takes it. It's all just a big big money grab, isn't it? Big money grab.
Never buy beta software, Monty. Never.
When they're releasing a new iPhone, I'll get the next one.
Version 3 once they worked all the bugs out.
Yeah, the one with the little S's. I don't know what the S's stand for. I don't think it means sporty.
Shit.
Special.
Special. Yeah, special. Cortek, you said special wrong.
Special.
Not spatial. That's a fat phobic word. Spatial. And so that's fun. Yeah, they're pushing. Apparently, on the vaccine program, they want over 13 million doses because there's 40 million doses apparently for the nation. And their program's supposed to be 13, but we're just over 4. So that Australian lethargy.
I don't think anyone's ever said lethargy before.
I don't know. You should hear this audiobook I'm doing. The words I'm trying to say in that.
And she bent over to pick things up with great lethargy. Yeah. Does that sound right? Hold on a second.
What do you mean cut? What did I say wrong?
You can call up any word on Google now and it'll speak it aloud for you and give you the pronunciation, right?
You'd think that, wouldn't you? Because I have.
Well, I know that.
No, I found words in your manuscript, my friend, that Google's like, I'm not touching that, okay?
Does it actually make a call with potato, one over the other? Because I meant some. It's potato.
No. Hey.
I wonder where you're going with that. It's like,
settle down there, Dan Quayle.
It took me about 6 hours to remember who Dan Quayle was. The vice president of Bush Senior. And everyone's like, it's like, did I change timeline again? Oh, man. But yeah, Dan Quayle, who is still alive, because I saw him at the play that in Washington, the inauguration ceremony, where former Vice President Joe Biden put his hand on a very thick Bible, because he's thick.
Did he have a glove? Did he have a glove on as well? I
think so, yeah. But the whole ceremony was in front of a bunch of flags because of COVID. It was slightly amusing. So all these voters turned up.
Have you seen all those videos that came out the 28th last month of all the UFO reports in the States? Bruce,
again?
Anyone else seen that?
Yeah, yes.
It seems like a bunch of. It seems like spheres, like old school Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so I've got a money line.
Okay.
I got a money line for this topic now. So much like God, cut the middleman out. If you want to meet ETs, sit down, close your eyes, concentrate on your forehead, and say I'm open. Try it every night for 15 minutes for a month, and you'll probably have contact. It's that simple. Okay, it's all out there, and you're out there too. We're out there too. So what the government is calling ETs is not what a human being would call an ET, right? They're going to do to ETs what they've done to God with all their control religions, right? So it's all about doing it yourself now, Cortek.
Yeah.
Doing it yourself, except for your wanker. Get a girlfriend.
Yeah, let them get hands on.
No one else is going to do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, I had a routine about the worst pickup lines, and I don't think I can say what my joke was on air, so I'll tell you afterwards. But someone, not a heckle, but someone added to the I asked the question. Now, anyone doing stand up, do not ask the audience questions because they'll have this strange idea of answering it. So statements or questions, and then you answer it straight away. But has anyone got any very bad pickup lines? And a gentleman in the front row has just gone, "Well, it's not going to suck itself."
Like, I don't know. That's not the worst.
No.
A guy's got 50-50 chance in an Australian pub. Oh, hello?
Yeah, but you want to finish that anecdote?
That was it.
It's a 50-50 chance.
I was down Jindabyne one night, and some guy was going around all the girls going, "Just look at your hands, looking for a girl with small hands," and and the answer is obvious if you ask why you're looking for a girl with small hands, but he found someone by the end of the night, and off he went.
It's a numbers game. Like you may get 80% rejection, but there's a 20% chance someone will go, "All right then."
Yeah, he was asking around every single person, and it was funny.
Yes. For those playing at home unaware what we're talking about, when you have small hands, objects look larger while in.
That was it.
There you go. So bringing the levity to Revolution Radio. So any new listeners to the station. Why pick this show? Like, what?
It's funny.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yes.
So Bruce,
it's funny.
So Bruce,
yeah,
back to UFOs and stuff like that. You think it? I mean, you think it's all just distraction? More news about that, all that kind of stuff.
Well, if I may, and then please take the ball and run with it. This is like the fifth or fourth time they've actually released this information, and no one's picked it up. And people have actually pointed out in meme form. The government has actually admitted that UFOs do exist on a certain extent, and no one cares.
Yeah.
So, Bruce, please.
So the way I would answer that, Cortek, is that the UFO phenomenon is related to consciousness expansion. Our controllers are heavily invested in consciousness redaction.
Yep.
So their version of it will be shit, and like everything else, do it yourself, right? I mean, extraterrestrials are everywhere now. Okay, something changed around 2014, and they're everywhere now, right? I've had orbs over my house. I've had portals opening up inside my earth bag house. I've had one race visit me in meditation about 9 months ago. They said, "You want an ongoing relationship?" I said, "I'm good, thanks." And I closed the portal.
Yeah, right? I like that. The way I described that is like you hung up on an alien.
Yeah. Yeah, it was apparently some seventh dimensional race too, and apparently I was communicating with the smartest one of their entire race, and I said, "You got the wrong guy. Have you seen the lines on my earth bag house? I'm amazed this thing is still standing."
You have reached Bruce MacDonald. I'm not available right now. If you'd like to leave a message, I'll get to you in about 3 or 4 meditations.
Yeah. So I'm all about laughter, love, meditation, worship, however you do it, prayer, whatever, the individual relationship, right? not books, not legalese, not Jewish debating over the Torah or the Talmud, or just the quiet time is what's going to get you through what's coming. It's already started. Let's be honest. You guys just aren't being realistic about it. As soon as you
Most
get off
people
this
aren't.
round,
I think you're
as soon as
completely. I think you're completely
oh
right.
yeah,
Well, to be fair, you're on a comedy show, so like maybe we are aware of it, but we don't care on a certain level where we're not engaged. We acknowledge it, and then I'm going to put on a clown nose.
It's a minefield of black comedy, though. We should be mining it, right? I mean, so we're not waiting for anything to happen now. It's happening. It's going on. The Western civilization is crumbling. It's already not going to come back now. It can't catch up to China. It's finished, right? So they're reordering the world, and this is done by people who are deeper into this infrastructure than the secret society people. It's not nothing we talk about on alternative radio. It's just, and really at the end of the day, it's just the way things are down here. And we're not going to change it, really. Not until the Yuga changes and we go into the golden age again. But there's nothing to do now but ride this out like a wave, right? And if you can't get your head around that, you're not going to make it, man. And probably you'll do yourself in. It'll start in your head. You'll start to think real negative, and then you're just going to go off a cliff like a buffalo. That'll be my best joke of the night.
I've just thought of a merchandising opportunity there. I'm going to sell Planet Collingwood consciousness boogie boards to ride out the wave.
Ride the wave.
Yeah.
There are certain symmetries in play, though, as far as I see it, and so the higher the nation in the previous status of the world, the lower it's going to be in the new status. Think of it like an inversion. Just think of it like turning an hourglass upside down.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah, balance.
Yeah, and it just is the way it is. It's you can see it now. I mean, it's what I've noticed in the last I don't know, 3 or 4 months, maybe only a month, right? Because I really dropped out of the world for 3 months when I was working on Andrew's book, cognitively, because it needed 100% of my CPU, my concentration. But as I've begun to go back into things, and I read a little print media now, I like the National Post in Canada, it's the Canadian New York Times. And guys, I can't tell the difference between them and Rev Radio 5 years ago now. I mean, they come at it a bit differently. It sounds more professional and research, but they're saying the same things we were. Is there really a virus? What's going on here? Is this prime minister literally trying to bankrupt this country? Giving guest columns to economists explaining the math. We can never recover from this. Not unless we quadruple our population in 20 years and everybody is fully employed. That's the only way we can pay off this debt. We got a prime minister who says the Great Reset in the House of Commons, a Canadian Parliament, and then 10 days later publicly denies it, and everybody's holding cell phones up with him on C-SPAN and YouTube saying it. And that's that. So you clearly, when you see things like that, nobody's running the show. These guys are like puppets or clones or something, right? Yeah. Whatever's really running the show has retreated, I think, to the inner earth now and the underground bases and stuff, and it's begun. Everything we've been talking about for 10 years has begun, and it's partly the will of the controllers, and it's partly the will of the prime creator, and it's partly cyclic.
Yeah. So basically, as an analogy, we're watching a Muppet show, but Frank Oz and Jim Henson are in the lunchroom having a quick coffee.
It's the lighting, guys.
Yeah, they're messy. All right, have a break, everyone. Hey,
I've always wanted to put my hand up this and see if I could do it too. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
I'm a pig.
Yeah. The only thing you can do now is just concentrate on your spiritual life, whatever your practice is, double or triple it. So for you, Cortek, if you were praying 15 minutes a year, you should be up to 45 minutes a year now. And
maybe I'll push it to 55.
Yeah, no, but seriously, it's all going to be about your state of mind, your state of being, your consciousness, the fluidity of your intuition in the moment. No psychic ability is going to save you. Nothing is going to save you but grace at this point. And grace is the presence of God. And that's it. And I don't mean to sound dramatic or high-horsed or anything like that, but it's really come down to that. for me.
I
And
Now.
like it.
interesting
I like
enough-
it when you sound dramatic and high horse, Bruce.
And it's interesting as well,
Ah.
at the same time of the shit show is off and running, as Bruce, you have mentioned a couple of times on Red Radio, that there's more grace in the air, where there's opportunity. It's not like, oh, the world's over, that's it, I'm just going to jump off a building. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you're wearing a parachute? Are you going it for fun? Could I join you? Are we going to record it?
Does it cost anything?
Yeah.
Can we do it again? Can we do it twice in one day?
Yeah, is it a Lego building? Like, how tall is this building? But there's Dolores Cannon. There seems to be a frequency split where the old world will stay where it is, and people that are like us, having fun and creative and riding the wave, will end up on the new Earth, because in a universe of energy, there's frequencies, and it's not that hard to sort of compute into your brain of like, well, if part of the Prime Creator changes the channel, people that are linked to that channel will go with said channel. I started out well and ended badly, like an Australian gymnast.
You're like an analogy destroyer.
Yeah,
That was a talent.
yeah,
So,
it's not monetized, but I'll see what I can do.
What do you got? What do you got?
What do you two fine lads still doing in a large urban center, man?
Financial difficulties.
Well, okay, fair enough.
It's, it's,
Just like,
that's where we
I'd
grew
be
up.
doing
And
it. Yeah, I'd be doing a couple months of research on eco villages in Australia. Really, it's going to come down to food and water, because when they pull the plug on the supply chain, it's going to go Mad Max, man. It's going to go Mad Max, okay? And because everybody's used to feeding out of a slop bucket now, and when the farmer stops putting the slop bucket at the back of the farm, there's nothing to eat. And when people have nothing to eat, I don't care how good you are or how I'll never kill anybody to survive. Yeah, you will. Another part of your brain takes over. Or you commit suicide, one or the other. I'm going to kill myself. But it's and I'm not trying to be all dark or dramatic or anything. I'm actually trying to push people into an autonomous, into the grace. Because if you step out of it, if you step out of the system of their control and step into the real world where things still grow, the sun still rises every day, this is where the grace is. It's not in their systems. Okay, their systems have been domed off. You're going to have real bad luck in those systems right now. It's going to be like every choose a number between 1 and 10. If you do it 1,000 times, you'll get it wrong 1,000 times in their system. As soon as you step out and enter into the grace zone, you'll get it right five out of 10 times. Right. And that's just the way the world is right now, because I don't think that the creator wants to punish anybody, wants everybody to make it. It's just people are brainwashed. Right. And really what they've done to us in 130 years since 1890 and the first industrial revolution is mind boggling. They've created human cattle. Right. They really have human cattle. Here's the feeding trough. Here's this. Here's that. Here's where you get your dick sucked. Here's where you go to do this. Here's PlayStation 4 for you.
Yeah.
Let's
completely remove any kind of skills or factories or anything like that from your countries to any skills that might help you, or metalworking or anything like that. Hey, who's that? Hey, it's a guy.
This has been fun. See you guys.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. We've been joined by Deacon John, who's on camera. It's like, oh, that's what you look like. Hello. And HiJacker as well. So, gentlemen, how are you?
How you guys doing tonight? Having fun, huh?
Yeah, basically just having a laugh and just waddling through. And how would you describe it, Cortek?
Waddling's good.
Yeah. Especially, well, in lockdown, it's like lockdown 4. All right, yeah, sure, whatever. Living as a hermit has helped. So that's a good thing.
HiJacker, are you out there?
Yeah, it's showing up to be quite a show. None of these doctors are giving ground. This one doctor, the guy who came up with, who figured out AIDS, the Nobel Peace Prize, multiple occasions, take it back. Everybody that's got the vax is going to die in 2 years. You got to take that back. And he won't. Other doctors won't. So, if this is the real thing, then we're looking at at least hundreds of millions of people leaving the planet, leaving the earth. maybe even 1 billion.
That
Yeah.
escalated quickly.
Yeah, I do find that weird though. If the government's actually getting rid of people that comply to them, it doesn't. All the rebels will be left, so that's going to work out well.
I never think that far ahead. Sure, they're thinking a long way ahead, but not the details.
No, well, this is a deal. Nothing goes down like this without the creator signing off on it. So this is an agreement. And from my Christian framework, my point of view, this is an agreement between Satan and God. This is something very unusual. But he would have had to sign off on it. And it looks like he did. And so you would say, why? Well, it talks about in the Bible, right at the end, there's the greatest harvest, the greatest soul saving than in the history of the whole world. And everybody thought, well, it's going to be like a preacher, or another Billy Graham will come out of somewhere. No, I think it's 1 billion people laying in bed knowing that they're all going to die. And they made a choice to take this shot. And I think they're going to cry out to God. I think that's where a great salvation is going to come from. It's going to be people themselves looking back through their life. What did I do? So,
yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see.
We'll let that one play out.
Yeah, well, there'll be reaction. That's why I mentioned, wait till October 2022 is when apparently the trial is over. For the vaccine.
Tell Deacon, you got your camera on.
I know.
And
yeah.
You're fading in and out. You're jumbly.
Oh, that's because that's a fake background. That's not actually where he is. And so as he moves around, the camera freaks out. And so he's not actually on an apartment. That's a nice looking apartment. But it's fake. And it's an audio medium, so none of the listeners can see it. But
look at that.
So
good times.
So, Deacon, why are you awake at this time of night?
I just got a new iPad Pro, and I'm setting it up here and putting apps on it, putting stuff on it for its hearings tomorrow afternoon. So should help out in the courtroom. So just working on that, just hanging out. That's all.
So without detail, what's it like being in a courtroom today?
It depends on the locality, the county. Some of them are very Nazi-like about it, and others really are pretty relaxed as far as that goes. I'm here in Ohio, and our governor, I guess yesterday, released you don't have to wear the mask anymore. So, but now what they're doing is, they're putting up posters on a lot of retail places and businesses and stuff. If you're not fully vaccinated, you have to wear a mask. So, but no one's paying attention to it. No one's wearing a mask except people that are really paranoid and old people. So,
it's similar here in Melbourne, where I had to take my mum to the hospital for a biopsy, just so the Western medicine see, there's nothing wrong. It's like, spent a day getting poked. Thanks for that. But driving around where it's like, there's not much traffic. And then I realized, but for a lockdown, there's a lot of traffic. So it wasn't the same bit. But yeah, I think after 18 months of all this, people subconsciously are just getting tired of like, okay, let's try again. But Melbourne seems to be if it's a direct plan, Melbourne seems to be the testing site. And so it's interesting how it's unfolding because it's the 4th lockdown we've had in a year and a bit, because March 13th, 18th, 3rd week of March last year is when 2 weeks to flatten the curve started. Yay. And now the difference in the mix is they have vaccines. And Cortek, have you seen Channel 9? I think Channel 7's doing as well. These are local broadcast networks here in Australia. But they've got all their celebrities where it's like, I don't know any of you people. It's our shot to get back to normal. It's our shot. And it's like, I thought, if I don't get the vaccine, I've got a feeling I'll be shot.
Is that their catchy slogan they're all saying, are they?
Yeah, that's someone did a gram of Coke and drank a bottle of Jack Daniels over a night, and like, oh no, well, it's like a shot. Yeah, that's brilliant. Write that down.
Oh yeah, let's go with that one. That'll save us.
Yeah.
Mike Adams says that there's going to be 5 stages to this, and I actually think he's wrong. I think they made a critical mistake.
There's no.
I think they made a critical mistake letting Trump in the first time, 2016, and they just kept making mistakes, kept getting exposed more and more until they decided to pull this COVID-19 thing, and it turned out it was like a monumental mistake, so big a mistake that they made another big mistake by stealing the 2020 election openly, letting everybody know we're ruled by the oligarchs, the Zionists, the Crown, the Jesuits, the big tech, the communist Chinese. So they made that mistake. Now they've made another mistake in that everybody that's gotten vaccinated are basically Biden supporters, the kind of the shallow thinking people, the TV heads, all the people that believe that, that what comes out of CNN is gospel. And then they scared all the gun owners, the people who got the guns, basically the majority of what they call, what do they keep saying? White Christian male Trump supporters.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and Biden, if I may interject just very quickly, Biden did a speech saying white supremacy is the most dangerous thing in our homeland. And a lot of people pointed out, like, what about black supremacy? Because, Portland is still on fire for over a year. And it's the the Democrats live in a false reality. They just think they're saving America while destroying it, because they're just completely. I don't think even Joe Biden has recanted on a few good people, that whole conspiracy where people thought that Trump was saying that Nazis are good people, because only the clip was clipped where he didn't show that he denounced white supremacy and Nazis only 3 seconds beforehand.
Well, the problem Monty, the problem is that on the left, if they wanted a civil war and this revolution, basically, like between right and left, the right never even had to fire a shot. The whole left went ahead and took this vaccine, and if they're all going to be dead in a year, they're all gone. There's not going to be no civil war revolution. They killed themselves. And so now they made such a mistake that you got this, the police, the military, the whites, the Christians, the patriots, the vets, they're all not getting vaccinated. The country split basically right down the middle. The numbers are 50.2 million have taken 130 million have taken both shots, and 150 or about 40%, and then basically about 50.2% of the population has taken the first one. So it's literally, the country's literally split in half. And now they're trying to bribe people with lotteries and everything else, lap dances. Yeah. I heard another one tonight, free years travel on airlines, something or another. Yeah, so they made another mistake, and now the only way that they can even save the situation and even attempt to get the Trump supporters and the military or whatever is they got to bring back Trump. They got to sacrifice their queen. They got to sacrifice the presidency and bring back Trump, who's all, he's committed to political mortal sin. He's selling the vaccine. He's basically, stuck his hand. He's committing mass genocide. He's committed political suicide. So now they want to bring him back, probably as a strong man, to force the other hard right that you got to take the vaccine and the military. And so they've just made one mistake after another.
I've sort of been mentioning a bit. I didn't have examples, so thank you for sharing that, because it from start of Trump's administration or even halfway through, because Trump was such a shock to the establishment, the old guard, the traditional. It came out of left field. They freaked out because they've had their own way for so long and their plans. And if one variable changed, i.e., as big as that, as Trump getting in, they freaked out. And then you had, how far? October 19 is when COVID really took hold in China. And the powers that were have been trying to catch up. And this is where I mentioned they would like, the psychopaths, as it's easy to call them, they like to have controlled chaos. They know, problem, reaction, solution, and they know what they're doing. But what we've been seeing, and I think this is what you're alluding to, HiJacker, is it's natural chaos. They don't have control over the pure narrative, because if you heard me talking to Cortek earlier about what they're saying in Melbourne, where apparently you can walk past someone and now get COVID. And it's because it's a deadly strain. It's like, really? Are you getting this ridiculous? The thing is, we've got 18 months of data and experience behind it, and most people aren't falling for it anymore. Or they fall for it and they think, they trust the medical system and the government, and they get the vaccine because, in short, the whole thing is playing to the innate fear of death that most humans have. And so because you're in that fear mode, you'll accept any way to get out.
Yeah, and then they complicated it. There's about 100 million Christians, 100 million Americans that got firearms. I think it's actually more than that. And so, before, if they had decided to do like gun confiscation or they had a shooting, they would have got a sizable chunk of the people, and it says, okay, maybe I got to turn my gun in, or this situation, that situation. Now we know they want to kill us with a shot, and now we know they want to come for our guns, to take our guns, so they can give us the vaccine. So now they just turned what would have been, maybe 20 or 30 million at most hardcore vets and military patriots, gun owners, militia people that would have fought back. Now we're all fighting to stay alive and not get the shot. And so now people are I'm not giving my gun up. And now when they would have, would I go for it if the police came, or would I not? What would I do? And when it actually happened, now all of a sudden 100 million people say, if you're coming to my door, you're coming to give me a shot, I might as well have my blaze of glory right now. So they made a mistake on that.
Yeah, I don't think they've made any right decision. I mean, Kamala Harris tweeted over the long weekend, because you had Memorial Day, didn't you, on Monday? Say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm an outsider, so I don't know. But all she tweeted was, enjoy the weekend. And it's like, she had tone deaf, had no idea. Like, it's Memorial Day. Cortek, for us, it's Anzac Day. It's you honor the military and the fallen. And Kamala Harris,
to keep that military budget keeping going. A lot of people care. A lot of people care.
Yeah. And Kamala Harris, enjoy the weekend. It's like, you do know what the day's for, right? Like, Afghanistan is the longest running war in the United States history. I think it's generational now. Like, the soldiers that went in 2003, their sons now, or I'm not sure of the numbers, but sons of the fathers can actually go, and it's Vietnam 2.0.
There's no Anzacs left to march. So on Anzac Day, it's all
not the first,
nephews.
not the first generation, but it's any Australian or New Zealander military person. So if you served in Afghanistan for a year in 2009, you can actually march. So it's a day for all the military and defence. Oh, they call it defence because it sounds better through marketing. And because it's over 100 years, there is no Gallipoli veterans alive because they aged out, obviously. And it's interesting to see how it's how Australian, their great sacrifice, and but with this Memorial Day, without insulting the veterans, that's the key here. They were pointing out you basically were a security force for bankers and oil companies and everything else like that. The trick to do it is, like, if you want to point out the chicanery involved of the endless wars and everything else like that, don't have a go at the veterans, because they've got enough hard stuff already with, like, the suicides and the way they're treated. And that's been going on for 2,000 years. Even in Rome, they had these problems of dealing with veterans, because you've got well-trained killing machines going back into society, and then they end up homeless or suicidal. It's like, it baffles me. Even today in the United States, kids in high school are still bullying other kids. You know that they could probably find a gun and shoot you. It's like the stupidity of it all. I mean, I'm not saying they should, but you know what I mean? It's like, really? After all the school shootings, you're still bullying someone. Go ahead, HiJacker.
Yeah. Well, not only that, all the truth seems to be coming out. That, I guess that's the apocalypse they're revealing. But so now the Department of Defense has actually come out and admitted that 87,000 actual casualties that we actually had with the Gulf War and Afghanistan. That's how many we lost. Well, we only lost 59,000 in Vietnam. So it's 30,000 more above that. And now everybody's being told that's what our real losses are. And then also somebody did the math on 22 suicides a day from the military. And if you multiply that out over a year, that's like over 8,000. And then if you multiply it over, like, so like in a year, that would be what, 80,000, 8,000 a month times 12. What's that? That's getting up to 88, like 95,000 over, if it's 8,000 a year times 10 years, that would be close to 100,000. And it's been 20 years, that's close to 200,000. And so they got a real problem, because if this is a death shot, if the wave is coming, everybody anticipates it's going to start during a normal flu season where people's immune system is not working. So that's September, October. Once people start dying and the body bags have already been pre-positioned, this has been factored by everybody. That means that society starts to have a systemic break. And right at that point, you get the economic collapse. And so what we've gamed out, Deacon, Guy, a few other people, is that they're going to have no choice, none whatsoever, when all this stuff starts to fall apart right around in the fall, that the military is the only one that's going to be able to maintain and keep society halfway functioning. Because think about it, even let's say you're a hardcore Trump supporter, and then your mother dies, and then your husband dies because they took the vaccine. You're going to think, who did this to me? And it was because Trump, he enabled them. He's coming up with this warp speed. He even admitted it. It takes 3 to 5 years, even 7 years to get a good vaccine. But I did it in warp speed time. And imagine all those hardcore Trump supporters. They're going to hate him. They're going to hate him for what he did.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think, though, that they would purposely vaccinate all these people, knowing they're all going to drop dead in large numbers in a relatively short amount of time? Don't you think that's against their interest, that would sort of rile up the population? They'd lose control. I mean,
that's what I'm sort of leaning toward. But they're psychopaths, so they probably don't think of that. But that's what I mean. It's like, if this model pans out, that everyone that has the vaccine's dead in 2 years, the rest of us will actually, and it's like, I think on a spiritual thing, you gave us consent. The people alive won't care. We know who who organized it, everything else like that. And it seems baffling of like, why do this? Because not everyone's going to be killed, and we know who you are.
It's just hearsay. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I know.
it's a big call made by someone. I don't know why everyone's caring so much. You can never make a blanket call about anything ever.
But yeah, there may be there may be not mass deaths, but I can still see if there's vaccine damage from it, like say autoimmune systems, and if that puts pressure on the medical system, which is kind of ironic because that was the whole idea of doing lockdowns, not to put pressure on the medical system because it's terrible and it would collapse because there's too many people being sick. I thought that was a dog, but that's a cat. Wow. Sorry, dear listener, that's just a visual joke, and. Yeah,
No,
if there's not that many deaths, but if everyone's sick and 400 people turn up to a GP that can only handle 6 people an hour, it's still going to have a similar effect. But there'll be more people will still be alive. And once again, we get to the end point of like, well, we know how they can't hide it, like SIDS, sudden infant death.
Yeah.
Yeah, a death syndrome, because they skip over the fact we just gave him a vaccine and then he died. I'm sure there's no connection. And so if they're going to have SADS, sudden adult death syndrome, go ahead, Jacker.
I don't think they expected the populations to react like they reacted. All 180 some nations do a lockdown all at once. Everybody worldwide starts wearing a mask. Everybody starts freaking. And I think they said to themselves, you know what? This is our plan to use medical tyranny, a vaccine to do it. Let's go for it. And the more they went for it, and the more it looks like the population was, submissive to it, the more they said, let's do it. Let's do it. And I think they just whipped themselves up until lather. And then so when it finally got to the point of the vaccine, they thought, yeah, we got Trump out of power. We'll have control. We'll do the vaccine. We'll buffalo them. There may be a little bit of resistance at the end, but we're going to roll America up, roll the world up. We got it. We're here. And I think they went for it. And then that's where the problem came in, is that now they've hit where half the population knows that they're trying to kill us. And those are the armed ones.
To the news anymore. I'm not really paying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that
175,000 doctors now are against the vaccine worldwide. You got insiders that worked, elbow to elbow with Fauci on other projects. They've turned. They said, "Look, this is a spike protein. You don't realize what it does." The Nobel Peace Prize guy that came up with AIDS, which Fauci tried to rip him off, take credit for it, but it didn't work. He's the one that's come out and basically said, "Hey, look, you don't understand the science. This is the exact wrong thing to do." You got from the Gates Foundation, the one who worked on vaccine. He's come out. He said this is the worst possible. It's going to be a huge, catastrophic loss of humanity. You've just got too many people with too much science coming out, and then you got the other side, which is pushing. And I mean, really, you're going to give somebody to be able to fly a year free? You're going to give a $5,000, what's his name, Larry Flynn, that does the lap dances, Flynn, the pornographer.
Yeah, hustler. Yeah.
Right. He's going to give people a $5,000 package if they come in and take the shot. You got lotteries being set up in 3 states.
Sounds pretty desperate.
Well, that's like, why such marketing and bribery if it's a deadly pandemic? Like,
because they've already committed. No, you don't understand. They committed with the shot. They know we're getting ready to come up on mass death, and it didn't work.
They'd slow burn it though. They do it slowly. That they wouldn't. I don't. I just think the masses of bodies and stuff would be against their interest. They'd lose control. People would flip out. You know what I'm saying? I don't think
the mask tricked them, Deacon. They thought they could get more. And now
so
they're running out
they
of
made
room.
a mistake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just made one mistake after another. So, but I'd like to get Bruce's take on it. What do you say, Bruce? What do you?
Bruce dropped off.
He ran away?
No, he left when you guys gate crashed.
Oh, so as soon as you brought us in, he ran. He took off.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yep. Welcome to Planet
okay.
Collingwood. It's a revolving door. No ejector seats, just a revolving door. So, but it's the other thing is, well, that's the break. I was just going to say, I can see where Cortek's coming from with blanket statements. It's once again, Planet Collingwood. We'll wait and see. We're halfway through the show, so we're just going through messages. You're on going to the messages. We are on Revolution Radio Studio A, Planet Collingwood. We'll be right back. Stick around. And we're back here on Studio A, Revolution Radio. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. Thank you for returning. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to revolution.radio or freedomslips.com and click on the Patreon button and share some shekels so we can continue sharing information and keep the station on air and alive on Studio A and B. Once you're there, also, you can pop into the Zazzle store, buy some merch, being the Northern Hemisphere is going into summer, T-shirts and caps and onesies for the little ones, and then pop into the chat room and say hello to SJ, because SJ's in there, so he just said hello to me, so I said hello back. And May Street as well, Flippy, all the Wood Indians. I've just invented a fan name for people who like Planet Collingwood. So you're a Wood Indian. Excellent. And tonight's this hour is brought to you by SJ's Ninja Dojo for Squirrels. Let your rodent defend you. I've been joined by Cortek, HiJacker, and Deacon John, because Deacon is awake, because he's got his own show. Actually, Deacon, do you want to tell people where people can find you when your show's on?
It's Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Studio A.
There you go. Used to be able to, because of the time shift, it's too early in the morning. So during the summer, I listen occasionally.
Oh, cool. Appreciate that. So you're like, what, 14 hours ahead of us, I think?
Believe so. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Wow,
so,
awesome.
Yeah. So hello from the future. And so, because of the daylight savings, which is kind of pointless in a 24-hour society,
it's about the cows, Monty. It's about the cows.
And it will fade the curtains. Thank you, Queenslanders. During the winter months, it's 4 p.m. For me, and then during the summer months, it's actually 6 p.m. So the time shift is 2 hours, and then of course it doesn't change at the same time. So there's the overlap. So about 3 weeks, it's an hour difference. Silly, because time.
So then this is going to be important to you Aussies. Of
Here
what's
we
getting
go.
What's getting ready to happen. And it does look like it's going to happen. It does look like because they've made so many mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes, but basically their biggest mistake is they did not realize how deeply, how broad, how deep, how high, breadth, length, width, the immensity of what President Trump, what Donald Trump did to expose the deep state. They did not come to terms with it. But when they ripped the election off and they realized they did it so openly, and that so many people knew, they made it, that's where they made the second mistake.
You've completely killed the office for a lot of people. Completely killed the idea of
the respect of the office.
Working.
Yeah. With the election, they thought in their wildest dreams, they thought that they won against Trump already because we're right and he's wrong and he's evil. But it looked like, now I'm not going to commit that Trump won. I'm just going to play it safe and without knowing all the knowledge, he was winning because HiJacker, you watch enough elections. There's only 3 or 4 different election cycles, or how they play out. How
this was a landslide. This was a landslide.
Exactly. It was heading towards a landslide and all that. And then they stopped counting, and then an hour and a half later they started counting and found all these votes. It's like
first time in history they stopped counting the votes.
Yeah, I know. There's so
and
just election
states, no less.
Yeah, in the key 7 states, because I watched the latter Crowder election.
But he
special.
won in other states. He won in Virginia. He probably won in California. I mean, it was like massive. It was like massive.
It was fascinating that Stephen Crowder actually said, okay, without knowing any of this, he just basically says, these 7 states will have to look out for, because this will be contested and a tipping point for Trump and all that type of stuff. And guess what? Yeah, this is where all the election meddling is. And there is so much evidence, and I've had conversations with people say, "Oh, what, you think Trump won?" It's like, I don't think Trump won. I think there's a lot of chicanery going on, and we're not allowed to check the results, which is telling.
It's a rich tapestry of cheap chicanery.
Yeah, it basically, yes, I like that. Write that down.
Right, and so
I'll just skip to the end. They ratified it in the Senate, so I think it's legal. Even it doesn't matter how we got to it, but because the Senate actually or the Congress voted on it, it's still legal. So I've heard this would be a question for Deacon. I saw that someone said even if they find out that it was rigged and all that type of stuff, because the Senate said no, these are the results, it's legally binding. Am I correct?
Well, I mean, that's the question. It's people want to say it's illegal, but if the government, the people who are the government, who are the Constitution, who are the legal system, say no, it's illegal. It's not fraudulent. He's the president. I mean,
it comes off like a child playing with a toy that lent it to another friend and wants it back.
Oh yeah, and what's going to happen at the end of next year when you have the
what
midterm
they say
election?
it is.
Yeah,
it's whatever they say it is. And if you go back to the original Constitution, I hate to say this, but it just says the states shall choose electors. That's all it says. And so, yeah, there are statutes on the books that say, you can't commit crimes and fraud and it's illegal and stuff like that. But if you have a legal system, a judicial system, all the way up to the Supreme Court and the federal courts that won't enforce it, and the political parties that elect the electors under the Constitution won't enforce it, or they say these are the electors, I mean,
they look complicit at that point, then, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
right, then it falls to the preamble where it's the right and duty of the people to throw off such a government. But we're talking about their mistakes, and so their third mistake was they actually believed once they openly stole it, and they had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, that they had a unified government, and they believed that, okay, there might be a certain portion of the people that won't go along, that were duly elected or whatever, but we can manage that. But what they didn't, where they made the mistake, is that they actually fractured the whole government. They fractured the military. They fractured the American population. Half of the American people do not believe they're legitimate. They're all legitimate. All the court systems and the judges and all the politicians, we know they're all rotten. Both parties now. I mean, it's like hanging your butt out there like in a canoe when you're traveling with the Iroquois. I mean, everything's out in the open.
Yeah.
And then the next mistake they made is that they actually thought they had a unified government, and so they thought, okay, all we have to do is just censor, manage the platforms, and it's good to go. And that's where they made another mistake, is that they didn't learn from the internet that you can't hide it, the internet. And so they thought, let's start knock them down on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, right.
What do you mean we can't delete that stuff? Oh,
right.
Shit.
And so we all found out.
Fired.
And then their next big mistake was they went ahead with this vaccine program right after they got political power, and they thought they had it all wrapped up, and now everybody's wearing masks, so they're going to be just like sheep. We can just jam this whole damn thing through. And then they made the mistake, and they want the vaccine.
They just saw Event 201. It was Event 201 with Gates, yep. and Gates fudged the numbers to try and be cool with his new jock friends, basically. And then they went, okay, let's push a button. Then when he went, no, I was just hey, and then it was gone.
And then
it's just not the United States as well, because I think last show or the show before, I made the correlation that the Western world is run by clowns, and that's not a euphemism. You just look at the leaders of Trudeau, Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, that lady in New Zealand, and Scott Morrison. And it's like,
most of the time
these are leaders. These are actual clowns.
Most of the time, when they're just like Boris Johnson, when they're just visibly foolish looking, like Bush Jr., whatever his name was, you know, the people who look like they're kind of a bit foolish or make stupid decisions, they're put there to blame, to be the patsy for, you know, decisions that are made by other people. I think that's the main job of these.
But
scapegoats.
when you have George Bush Jr., it's like you can't blame him because you does anyone think he could make a decision? Like, clearly he's a puppet. It's like someone's telling him what to do. It's
oh yeah, he was put there because of who he is and his family. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, Jeb was supposed to win. He's the smart one. The Junior got through, and it's like, oh no.
I saw a couple of those Jeb speeches. They were horrific.
HiJacker, why do you think that they're losing control and they're going to lose? So what gives you that?
Well, it gets to the sixth mistake they made. The sixth mistake is once they started doing the vaccine, they got all excited. 10 million people this week. The next week, it was another 10 million. Wow, this is going great. We're up to 75 million.
Yeah, at that point, it was a big
over
cash
100
grab
million.
as well.
They said, wow, this Fantastic. We're going to roll this whole thing up. We'll hit 200 million people before 6 months with Joe Biden. And they went up. They went up.
Got the stocks.
Right. And then all of a sudden, now they've hit a brick wall and nobody wants it. And now they look back and they go, yeah, we did vaccine, 150 million Americans, but they're all our side. And now we've wiped out our own side, our own revolution with our own kill shot. And meanwhile, the opposite side, the right, the rhino, or the Republicans, the gun owners, the Christians, the patriots, they're the ones that ain't got the shot. And so now they got a problem. Now you're starting to hear rumblings where they got to bring Trump back because now they realize they've made so many mistakes that when this point comes very shortly here in the next couple of months, when people start dying off and they start dying off common cold or the next flu season or whatever, and people start to wake up, once that money collapses and you get that systemic break, there's only one thing that's going to be able to hold this thing together, and that is the United States military. And now I think this helps out Australia though.
Oh yeah.
It helps out Australia because Trump, he's compromised. He's still rah-rah on the vaccine. And so it looks like they may pull him out of mothballs, reinstate him, do him like a military coup and a snap election, and put him back in just so he can run the shot to the other 150 million Americans that were his supporters.
That's still not going to solve the problem and give anyone any faith back in the system.
Well, that's there's no faith in elections, and the left created this as well. The barrage that Trump got. Now, I understand they hate Trump. I don't know why. They're idiots.
It doesn't make a difference. They're all going to be dead soon.
Yeah, but
it doesn't make a difference. They're going to be gone.
What, in the Tibet, in the
they
book
need
of the
Trump
dead,
to manage.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that they wonder why that there's no respect for the office now with Biden in, and it's because CNN and the left and all that have just dumped on Trump hardcore for 5 to 6 years, and they instead of Trump's almost Teflon. Like, he got impeached twice, and he got through that. He got through all this other stuff. And it's like, oh, I lost the election. Oh, well, I'll just get on my private plane, fly back to my mansion, which I have a room full of gold. Like, how
throw it around, throw it up,
money fight, money fight. But the problem is now in the aftermath of that is that the lack of respect of the office of the president has stayed there because it's a one-time offer type thing. They rip down Trump. They try to rip down Trump by ripping down the office.
What I'm saying to you though,
with anyone external, listen, with anyone external taking down the idea of that office, it takes down that percent every time. It shaves it off. You got a block, so you got a square cube.
Yeah.
You're shaving bits off every single time.
Yep.
Anyone, doesn't matter if you're on left, right hand side, punch or duty, it doesn't matter. If you have anyone taking down bits of those, it just erodes it away.
Yeah.
It doesn't grow back.
And if very quickly, HiJacker, and then I'll hand you the talking stick. Remember 4.5 months ago when they called for unity? How's that going? Because there is no unity at all, mainly because of the loss of faith in elections, the system, the executive branch, and all that type of stuff.
It was a lot of people's first false flag.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. That's why they're pushing the whole insurrection thing. We have to put Granny into jail. It's like, well, what about Black Lives Matter? $2 billion worth, and now we're coming up to the anniversaries. So I'll mention David Dorn, that African-American grandfather, ex-policeman, who went down to a friend's store to make sure it was okay, and he was shot in the back of the head, and they streamed it on Facebook. And none of these libtard, I'll stop there, acknowledge it at all. And it's like, Black Lives Matter, but you just killed a black man. I mean, come on, the hypocrisy is through the roof.
So the chick who was running that has recently retired from the position of running it because she can't explain why she has like 16 houses or something.
16 houses.
It's not that many, but don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
No, of course. No. HiJacker, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, my point is that forget the politics, forget the left and right, what Trump is going to do to polarize and the media hate, all that stuff is out the door. What they've done is they've gone through and they've made the death blow to take down America. They cannot stop now. And so their only option now to finish the takedown is they've got to bring in sort of a corporate fascist military regime. Whether they bring in Trump or not, it's not going to make a difference. And they've got to go sort of a hard martial law, Hitler-esque type of strongman model to finish off America. That's all they're down to. That's what they got to play.
Yeah, and I don't think that would work out either. Because, like, if I can give a scenario,
well, they know that the Patriots will fight back in the vets, but you'll also have military units that will buck too.
Yeah,
and so,
I was about to.
But that's their only choice now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll just give you a small example of a scenario, and then Deacon, it would be awesome to hear from you. If there was in the last 5 years, if there was a civil war at all, guess what all the military overseas were going to do? They would say, like, well, I'm going to save my family because that's the true nation of the United States. They're not going to follow orders. They'll go home and defend their family and their houses. Deacon, please share what you're saying.
Yeah, when Monty, no civil war. The left killed off their whole side with the.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen.
Civil war is over. It was never. We never fired a shot.
Yes, but still the same. It's a different scenario, but still the same outcome. At some point, the military are going to fracture and stop following illegal orders because they want to. The idea, from my understanding, when you join the military, it's about flag, constitution, and the country. And if all that's being destroyed, you'll defend it.
Yeah, it's not about following just some corporate flag.
That's where you get the military coup. That's the point. You get the military coup because the right is not going to buck up. The vets are going to say, good. Trump's back with the military. The conservatives are going to say, good. The loyal units within the United States military are going to say, good. The vets are going to say, good.
I wouldn't say 100% though.
No,
yeah,
only if I can, because people have decompressed from Trump, and now they're seeing failings is a strong word, but they've seen what Trump didn't do, like
now he will become the sort of the Nazi Hitler-esque, except he'll be used against the right, the very people that supported him.
Yeah.
It's very
anyway.
You got to understand evil. Go ahead,
Deacon. Would you like to chime in?
Sure. I disagree. I don't think you're going to get anything that drastic, or you're not getting a lot of people die from the vaccine, and you're not going to get any kind of military action or any kind of upheaval, because that means they lost control. They're control freaks. I think first of all, you have to think like they do from their perspective. What's worked? Well, what's worked is brainwashing,
hold on. Let me put on a
slow
hat.
cooking.
You're right. You're completely right.
Right.
Sorry.
Brainwashing, slow cooking, shaming people, control by the economy, controlling the voting booth, and just creating this grand illusion like the allegory of the cave in Plato's Republic. I mean, that's worked so well for them. Why would they want to blow everything up and lose control? I don't think that they'll do that. I could be wrong.
Because they thought they had a chance, Deacon. They thought.
But if I could just back up Deacon a little bit, also, and then chime in, HiJacker. Everything is so fragile where the wrong bit of information will swing everything towards the light instead of the dark, if you can say it that way. And because they are control freaks and they're losing control, they have to do it slowly, because if they went too fast, it's what you're saying, HiJacker. If they went too fast, you'll lose more. And the military coup, they may not even get Trump to come in, because someone may go, no, we're moving now, and have elections and everything else like that. Go ahead, HiJacker.
Can I just say it's like trucking up a big load up a muddy hill?
Yeah.
No, in a way, you would actually want to pull Trump in, especially if people are dying left and right. You actually would want to cause a reaction to where they would rally around Trump, the military, the patriots, the vets, etc., would rally around and say, we just need to put it down. You want to riot? Okay. President Trump wants to do a shoot to kill? Okay. That's what I'm saying. They need to go. The only thing they got left is a hardcore corporate fascist military martial law regime with the veneer of Trump being brought back, of a civilian government. That's the only thing they got to keep control and to finish America off.
That's probably the 13th time you've said Trump this evening. Like, do you really think he could get back in the picture, or is this your honest opinion, or is
well, dude guy brought up that it might be a Poindexter or a Milley. It could be a military guy. They could just go straight up military coup takeover.
After what happened, though, there's no confidence in the whole shebang. So putting someone back, a puppet people appear to like,
get elected again
within a system that there's still no confidence for, makes no difference.
Right. Well, right. But Trump, right. Not only is there no vote, but even if they wanted to put Trump back in and they ran him, his base is cracked. It's shattered.
Yeah.
Trump has committed the ultimate political mortal sin by basically not only turning the country over to the communist, he knew, but also with the vaccine. And now he's the big salesman. He's the enabler. Trump has committed mass genocide. He's going to be one of the most hated people if this thing continues on. Trump belongs in prison for the rest of his life for what he's done with his vaccine. What? His base is cracked. They know it. And if the ones that don't know it, even after he betrayed them on January 6th and didn't give him any blanket pardon, the 455 people sitting in solitary confinement for trespassing because a cop opened the door and said, come on in. The ones that are going to turn on the most are going to be his most hardcore supporters when their mother and their brother and their sister or their wife is dying off from the vaccine and realizing it was that guy who came up with this crazy warp speed type thing.
It's when that was him impossible. That came up with it. He's a patsy like everyone else in a position like that.
He said it takes 5 to 7 years to get a vaccine. I came up.
It takes longer than that. It takes 10 years and people still can't do it. This is all about live data.
He calls himself the father of vaccine even to this day.
Yeah.
He's participating in mass genocide now.
The thing is, as an outsider, and see if Cortek agrees, it's basically, if you just look at all this, the presidency, Congress, and the Senate, you'll have to go. Let's start fresh. And I'm wondering if that's a scenario where, you'll just, clear the board and start again, because how many people are compromised on a certain level? And see, that's the level we're at, where...
How can something stay fluid when you've got people who have been in politics for longer than 40 years or something like that?
Oh, yeah, like really? Joe Biden. I'll fix government. You've been in government for 47 years.
I'll do it. Just give me a chance. I got it. Oh, give me another try here. I got it.
The good news for you Aussies, though, is that if I'm wrong and Deacon's right, and we don't get these waves and waves of death, and somehow they're able to keep on printing magical money machine, things keep up, So if Deacon's right and this thing goes on, then you're going to see the communist Chinese. They'll probably first take over Taiwan. They say they can do it like within a couple of weeks. And then they're going to go for, resource-rich Australia. You only got 30 million. They can roll through you fairly quickly.
They could try.
But if they bring Trump back, or it's a military coup, that changes the equation, and you Aussies are going to get more time.
Well, I'm sure at some point we may turn to Russia, because Russia seems to have an element of control over China, where you got Putin
Russia's
saying,
scared to death of China. Russia's only got 145 million people. Sitting on the longest border in the world. It's like a 4,000-mile border with China.
Yeah, it's a third of Asia. That's how big Russia is. But also, if China does what you're saying, no one's going to join them. The whole world will go against. I mean, you got India right next to it, where if you just give everyone a knife, they could take China. Because
it's a tightrope.
Not if Biden's in there. Biden's not going to back India.
Who cares what Biden thinks?
And the Quad's already broke
I don't think
apart.
Biden thinks. That's the thing. So, but
you
still,
know what the Quad is, right? You know what the Quad is, right?
It's a remote-controlled flying vehicle that you can go FPV.
Quad. You all are in it. You're in the Quad. The Quad is India, Australia, South Korea, and Japan. That's the Quad.
I thought you said QWAD. I thought you were saying
during the Indonesian earthquake and tidal wave, it was you four that came together and you built a system.
That's what people do when there's trouble. You have all these projections of think groups of people with, when the shit goes down, people are going to turn against each other. But no, people help each other. People don't think like these people in these think tanks think.
Yeah, I don't see a Mad Max reality. That it may be a bit shaky for a while, but the workers in the plough pants are like, no, I'm going to stay here and give people power. I don't see, because especially in Australia, and I think in the United States as well, there's this. Most of us are nice, and when there's
people
a
you
disaster,
meet, they're nice.
When there's a disaster, especially here in Australia, we give and we help, and like the bushfires and the floods and all the stuff that Australia does. An example is like New Orleans, where the only failing in that was government. However, everyone else banded together and helped in very loose terms.
Yeah, dangerously incompetent.
Oh yeah, that was Junior's
that
thing.
Phrase would come to mind.
Should we do something now? Obviously, it's the United States. So
4 weeks later. How long?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that long. Was it?
No. But it took 4 days. It took 4 days, and there were shootings inside the Superdome or whatever it was. And I'm sorry to say this, but you're Americans. It wasn't shocking for everyone outside. But the shocking bit was the government. We're here to help you. And as Ronald Reagan pointed out, it's the worst 9 words you want to hear at all. We're the government. We're here to help you. But
one of the biggest reasons I think, or one of the biggest reasons that the possibility exists for them to bring back Trump that Trump is basically
you got to at least kind of like minorly segue from what's being said last to when you go on to what you were saying the last 4 times you spoke.
Right. Well, we were talking about the defense of Australia. And
no, we weren't. You
Trump
were.
Basically is sold out. And he's all pro-vaccine, and he thinks that's his ticket.
Trump's not even in the picture. I don't know why you're speaking about him so much. He's just hanging back, doing what he does, playing some golf badly.
Because there's 150 million Americans that know that he should be president.
Well, I would say that in November. I'm not sure about now. As I said, there's that cooling off period where it's like, well, they've seen Trump's
No, you don't understand, Monty. We know this is an illegal government. These are criminals. This is a worldwide criminal conspiracy. This is one giant takeover.
It's a big tapestry.
Right.
I can see.
And the only lives that think that way. I don't. There's a lot of I would say 80 or 90% of the population either don't realize that, don't care, or won't do anything about it. They've got them snowed. They've got them brainwashed. That's what the vaccine's about. So they can mind control.
That's why half the American people don't take the vaccine. They now know the government's bad. They're waking up. They're realizing this is not right.
There's a lot of people having those conversations, which you would not think they would be having those conversations. You know?
I also would say that Tulsi Gabbard is gaining traction because she got out of Congress, and so she's got cred there. However, she has implored Biden and the Senate to, I think, I may get the word wrong, but impeach Kamala Harris because of that tweet of "Enjoy the weekend," and so there. I don't think it.
What did the tweet do? I missed that? What happened?
Her tweet, Kamala Harris's tweet, I mentioned it in the last hour, was just "Enjoy the weekend," and it's Memorial Day. You don't enjoy Memorial Day. It's a somber event where.
Is it a holiday though, or is it just over the weekend?
Yeah. It's like it's the Monday. It's a long weekend. It's exactly the same as Australia Day, or in Europe, or especially the UK. They do it on the 11th of November, Remembrance Day.
From her respect, she was being jovial in her
totalitarianism.
It's
how she laughs like the Joker and all that.
Hey, have fun behind bars. Hey.
Yeah, that type of stuff. So what I'm thinking is I'm leaning to it's. I don't think it's hard and fast where, I mean, in a way, certain people probably think it would be easier to get Trump back in. But I think because everything is a complete mess, they'll try and find another resolution. Because if it gets to the point, even if the military actually does something, if we use the thing of it's an illegal election and the military does something, that will cause more division. Because
even Trump back in that position implies manipulation.
Well, yeah, right, because half the country have Trump.
They're going to be sick. See, this is what it hinges upon. This scenario is what exactly is the vaccine. If we are getting ready to go through waves and waves of death, which the economics is going to collapse if that's what happens, then it doesn't matter.
Not that many people are going to take it.
It doesn't matter if people think the military shouldn't be there or not, or Trump shouldn't be there or not. None of that's going to matter. When you go into basically a corporate fascist military martial law type takeover, you're at the end. You've taken the glove off and you put brass knuckles on, and you're just saying, let's punch it out, shoot to kill. Black Lives Matter, fine. Let's see how many of you last one night of burning. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a systemic break if the vaccine is what all these doctors are telling us it is. It's a coming. And some evidence for it. Here's some evidence.
How many people?
Some evidence is that the budget they now want to cram through, forget 2 trillion, forget 4 trillion. They want to cram through a $6 trillion, $600 million infrastructure bill, like even without the Republicans participating. I mean, they're just like, grab the money right at the end. Yeah. And you know what that's going to do to the markets? Just printing up money. I mean, we're right at the end.
Go ahead.
So I understand what you're saying, but like if you turn on the mainstream media and the television where most people live their reality, and in society, the average person,
nobody watches it anymore, Deacon.
Yeah, does anyone watch?
No, all the numbers are down. CNN gets like 300,000. All the sports are like way down. It was nobody watching it. Nobody cares.
Honestly,
no one cares. It was off for me when they started pumping like the ad breaks 15-20% volume up, and then you had to go. Oh, I'm gonna do something. That was it. I was annoyed by ads already, but Jesus.
The compression. Yeah, there is. How can I say it? Yeah, if we're the alternative media, there is alternative media from the mainstream, and they're sort of still. They're mainstream, but they're an option from the legacy media, and so they're gaining traction at the moment. And they're still in that paradigm of the vaccine good type thing.
Who watches that rubbish anymore? Hi, I'm a morning host with a coffee mug in my hand. What's going on around your neck of the woods?
Yeah, but
the only guy that actually gets anybody that views them is Tucker Carlson. and he's the whole anti-establishment. He's been exposing all this stuff.
And as well as Stephen Crowder. Stephen Crowder is like 4 million. He doesn't brag about his numbers, but he's the strongest independent. It's a comedy show, but he's delved into all this stuff and peeling it back. And so yeah, Carlson Tucker is one of the strongest celebrities. The wrong word, but you know what I mean.
I see him come up, I see him come up, and sorry, go Jacker. I agree with him.
Even when Hannity did his Kentucky debate of all the future presidential candidates or whatever, he had dead numbers. Not even the Trump people tuned in. Nobody believes him anymore. None of them. I mean, it's like whatever Trump did, he completely destroyed any credibility left in the media, even on the left.
Yeah. No,
another one is
right. It's just gone, and you could have even the news about UFOs off this ship that looked like kind of that looked like Foo Fighters just hovering there, circular kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a possibility. With Cortex, that's a good possibility. Is that they're really ramping up the alien disclosure? So maybe the scenario that I'm talking about is not true. Maybe what Deacon's talking about is not true. Maybe what they're going to do is they're going to play the alien disclose. Could be that the aliens show up and all these people are dying in the vaccine, and the aliens show up and say, "We got a vaccine that can fix that vaccine."
Well, they may not. Well, it won't be vaccine. They'll have hidden technology which is known already, which could be sound based because of. We live in a universe of energy. It's done right. However, I think they would fall back into what Deacon was saying. It will be a controlled alien invasion or alien contact, which will upset all the rest of the galaxy. Because, who the hell are these people?
We stuffed up everything. All we got left is Bluebeam. Oh, God, can you forget about Bluebeam already? Come on, it'll work.
But also the idea... the UFO idea is not. It's slightly making traction now, but they've tried it 4 or 5 times. Those videos have been out for the last 10 years, and it's finally breaking through. But no, people are just shrugging their shoulders, type thing. It's really weird. Also, if someone who is got is clear thinking insane, it will be basically, so the government's saying there is UFOs. Why have you lied to us? Why have you lied to us for 70 to 80 years?
Yeah, less confidence in the institution, and you could have something so amazing happen tomorrow. People are just so dulled by the whole experience of 2020. You could have something so amazing, like
well, there is that. Yeah, we're all
and
worn
people
down.
People would be, and so
and here's another big factor that's coming up. So today is June 1st. So now for the last 15, 16 months since this thing started, anybody that had to pay rent, that got suspended. Anybody that had to pay a mortgage, there was a mortgage program. Same with the landlords. Now, June 1st, 30 to 40 million people have now got to pay their rent up back. It's not like they're just going to start paying it.
Back pay as well.
Back pay, that's right. So we're looking at 30, 40 million people getting ready to go onto the street. We're looking at about a real estate implosion. I mean, this is like, plus the country is being flooded with the illegals. The money's just being spent everywhere. We're right on the precipice. I mean, this is like
scenario.
The only thing that's going to be able to hold the country together is going to be the United States military. They're going to have to pull a coup off just to maintain control.
Well, you know what?
Even
just
without
going back
Trump.
Going back to what Cortek was, I'm not going to say allude to what you were talking about. Not alluding.
What was it?
No, basically how we're all worn down and we're tired and we'll sort of accept anything, in a small way. Remember all that explosion in Beirut?
Oh, the massive
in Lebanon,
one.
The massive one, and you saw the footage where it's heart wrenching, and because however you could see like there was tears and everything else, like the Lebanese were reacting to obviously a massive tragedy. And
that was a tactical nuke, by the way. Go ahead.
But there was an element of like, because Lebanon's had the crap kicked out of it for decades. You could just see they were tired of like, oh, this is just another thing.
Thanks, neighbors.
Yeah, and so there was an element of almost the British stiffer up lip of like, we have to soldier on, but you're getting tired because it's like again. And I think you can see in the last 18 months with the whole virus crapola, even here in Melbourne, where it's lockdown 4, which they've extended for another week, double the amount of time. Humanity, in a way, is getting very tired, and that's kind of a dangerous place to be.
Humanity, as it gets tired, is getting stronger.
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
we're
but what I'm saying is
building walls in our belief.
I'm not saying all of humanity is like a 5-year-old child that hasn't had a nap, but there's an element of that where when someone gets a bit cranky, it's like, oh, someone needs to sleep.
Cranky pants.
Yeah, especially like my cat. It's like, oh, you're upset. You need to have a sleep. I'm not saying we should go to sleep.
How do you make your cat sleep?
You'd be amazed. I won't tell you on air. Let's
see, Monty, we have a different. Monty, I know what you're saying, but we have a different point of reference. When Australians get tired, or New Zealanders, or people from India, or other places in the world, okay, you go out and you bang some pots and you get upset. I mean, maybe if you're in the UK, you get a knife and you stab somebody or you punch somebody.
That's just London.
In the United States.
Only if you're 8 years old.
Yeah, and
in the United States, we got recorded. This is recorded. We actually have paperwork. It's actually recorded. We have 500 million firearms. That's how many we've created. That's gone out into the public.
It's not a competition.
Right.
Yeah, but however, gun sales have gone through the roof. It's like, oh, we want to take a gun, so everyone's like, I don't have one.
And the leftists are arming up. It's all the leftists, but they got the shot, so it doesn't even make a difference. They're gonna.
But we have to wait to see because it's
there's a lot of doctors.
Yes, I know, but a lot of doctors said that the vaccine's good as well. So it's like, I'm leaning towards the one that said this is not the best, but you've got 4 or 5 different makers of the vaccine, and if you just make one generic vaccine, everyone can have their own personal reaction to it because, strangely enough, we're all unique, and so it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm sure there'll be deaths because now this is, I think, an element of that is the fear that the media and government's pumping out, which is lowering your immune system as well. And the way they're treated, like we've seen this in the last 12, 18 months, where the elderly are just slowly dying in an empty room because they're not allowed to see their family. And that, in a way, those people give up. Because they don't see a point of fighting on. It's like,
those people were kept alive by the weekly visits or fortnightly visits or monthly visits from their family because that's all they got left. That's where we really stuffed up, really thinking it was okay thinking we as humanity, and it was all right to farm off our elderly, when the perfect people for young people, like 0 to 10 or 0 to 5 or whatever, is old people. In Australia, they had this show recently which is coupling, these people stuck alone in their home that are really elderly with these like preschool children, and one gives energy to the other, and they were all having a great time. It was
it's good to have a kindergarten and a retirement village near each other because you've just got that classic family, grandchildren. Grandparents, they don't have to be family, but just the energy
still got a lot of energy to give, and the children give it straight back.
Now, of course, we're not talking about New York where Como put in infected people into the retirement villages, and then all that stuff happened.
That's not
but we're getting to the point like a preface of the tipping point, because I can't say precipice. I've proven it again. Because with that close, in a way, we're one cat video away from freeing humanity. Don't ask me how or what the video is, but
I love that analogy. I've never heard anything so powerful.
It is. If it does happen, I'll be amazed. It's like, oh, that's the video. However,
I'm thinking of that spliced with the hang in there poster with the cat, like hanging by one claw. If that's got the power of that, because that is powerful.
But the thing is, like, if we go down the dark path of the vaccine is a death sentence, people are going to react. They're not going to buy the propaganda of like, oh, it's just a new strain. It's like they have the
social tools to get it out there as well, with the people who had the control group of people who could stick fridge magnets to their arms. This is only a control group. There's lots of data coming in, but there's lots of things being experimented on. Clots were the main reason why mRNA didn't have as many live data patients as they won around the Second World War.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just saying once this death wave starts to hit, everybody starts to go psycho. People start to want to get even. They lose hope.
So let's say that doesn't happen. What then?
Well, no, I would say they would band
then
together.
You got Deacon scenario. Deacon says basically management.
Yeah, it's management. Why would we turn on each other?
Right.
It's
we can only hope Deacon's right. We know all the Deacon's right.
We know the leaders instigated this, if you want to, in a basic form, and people know who the leaders are. And like, there's even been reports that people that have been affected by the vaccine or a loved one's died, they started to go after doctors because they're blaming them.
Yeah, they should.
But if you go, well, you don't want to hunt and kill doctors.
Well, you got to work up the chain. Doctors aren't responsible, but you work up the chain.
And you can just see, like, scientific discovery. It's a certain narrative, because if you say something out of the box, you'll lose your funding, and so you have to instead of discovering something, you have to discover the right thing.
And
speaking of funding,
speaking of funding, there is something else that is a possibility, and that is they go ahead and cauterize this thing, compartmentalize it, say it was Fauci, Gates, and a certain group, of Chinese business people or whatever that came up with this whole Vaxgate, which is why all these, 50, 100 million Americans are going to die worldwide. I don't know how many. And that there's sort of like Nuremberg trials. But out of this, the bankers get together and say, we need a compensation fund. And so they come up with $100 trillion compensation fund.
Write it on a napkin like you did last time, guys.
Right. And so everybody that's had a family member die because of the vaccine then gets entitlement to this new digital currency of this $100 trillion fund that goes right to their account, and try to buy the people off that way. And so actually use it to usher in like a one world order type currency, based on the compensation fund of $100 trillion digital Bitcoin type thing for all the people who suffered losses of family members.
I don't think there'll be a lot of good feeling towards that. I don't think people would want to feel like they're being bought off with what could be just
digital money.
What could be just the next fiat currency.
Well, based on what I know about human nature, I don't know about that.
Well, human nature's changing all the time.
Well, especially in these days, because if the government keeps failing, it's like the whole the Great Reset. It's like, wait, hang on. The people that created the problems are putting forward a solution. I think not.
Yeah, there's votes of no confidence.
There's throwing of chairs.
Yeah, but that would be a great reset. $100 trillion financial compensation for the worldwide pandemic of these criminals.
And then what?
Oh,
where's the money come from? I mean, you got to pay that back, because
it's digital. It's
they'll find a way.
The checks in the mail.
They'll link it to the national debt, and generations will be paying it back. Even today, if everything turns out perfectly well tomorrow in 24 hours, we still have all the debt from the last 18 months, and
they'll let that go, Monty. They'll let that go, and if they can get everybody where they got it, their bank account is in the cloud, and they can just cut you off if you turn into a dissident, That's what they want. They want total control.
Yeah, I know that's
worldwide.
what they. Yeah, but I don't. That's what I'm not saying. That's what they want. I'm not disagreeing. That's what they want. I don't see it being implemented though, because if you go to the streets of America, it's like, we're going to give you all this money. Oh yeah, put it in my hand. No, it's digital. No, you put it in my hand. It's certain members of certain gangs was like, I want, they, even with cash, they'll want actual physical stuff. And of course, I can see, we've got all this digital money. Everyone will start screaming for gold. And so it's,
well, I mean, think about it, 96%. Think about, Monty, when how much cash do you have in your pocket right now?
$6 million. And you?
No, not
really.
monopoly money.
Really, I mean, how much actual, you got like a $20 bill or quid or whatever?
A quid,
no,
yes.
I've got
$3.
You got cards. You got plastic
I've got
cards.
my card, yes.
Right.
But I also have $3.25.
We've got plastic money as well, so you can go swimming with it.
Everybody's on plastic. It's already digital, 96% of the money. And the only reason they keep cash around is for selling children, drugs, illegal stuff.
Children mostly.
Yeah, but they're about to end that. And see, that can't be stopped either. Nobody can pay back the debt. You add up all the debt of the whole world, it's like $500 trillion.
Well, I think you need another 8 planets to pay it off. And
who do we owe it to again? Has anyone
that's the other
answered that question?
Jeremy Irons, the actor's like, who do we owe the money to?
They want the new magical money machine, which is digital currency in the cloud, and hopefully hooked up to your biometrics. That looks like that is the big reset. And so maybe
all the debt stuff, we just need to have a good chat with whoever we can find is asking for all this debt from every single person on the planet, and say, start the sentence with "look," and then it'll flow from there.
Yeah, and I would say if you wanted to start making money in this great reset, rejuvenation, or whatever you want to call it, build and sell EMP machines, because that will just stuff up everybody. Like, I've got a chip in my hand. Boom.
Don't wear Star Trek outfits with pointy shoulders.
And that's another thing they can do. They can turn off the internet worldwide for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then when they turn it on, they could say the new government has been formed because of this crisis in the world. We have formed a new government, and then they bring out, their Mahdi or the Jewish Messiah, which the Christians will call the Antichrist, and they got a whole new system.
But there we go. There involves the complete distrust of the system that was lost in 2020 by taking that position back forcibly, like they did.
Yeah, have you ever seen a family, like the dad turns off the Wi-Fi and he's got 2 children that are teenagers? Can you see the world lasting 2 weeks without the internet? Because there will be revolution if the internet goes down.
I saw this video the other day, and it was this girl, and she met this donkey that she'd been brought up since she was a child, and I imagine it had been 5-10 years, and these two reunited, and you go, oh my God, this is so beautiful. This is people talk about aliens, but these two beings, completely different beings, and one was super horsey and cuddly and stuff.
Yeah, the donkey nearly exploded.
It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so we live in interesting times, and I have no idea what I'm going to call this show on the internet, on YouTube, but I'll figure it out. We're coming up to the end, and I won't be able to do any after party. I've got some work to do, so it's that at the end of the deadline, get it out and finished and moved on.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, go to freedomslips.com, revolution.radio, donate what you can. If you like what I do, go to my YouTube channel, which is Wafer Thin Entertainment, and there's a pay bell button on that. Just click on that and give whatever you can. And because I'm in Australia, what you think is a cup of coffee, here it's a house.
It's 2 cups of coffee.
And a field where the coffee comes from. Deacon, if you're still awake, do you want to quickly give out where people can hear you again?
Sure. Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m.
Yep.
And
And HiJacker will be popping on there for a good discussion as always.
Yeah, sometimes I ride shotgun with Deacon. It is the most popular weekly show. But as far as with Monty, just to let the audience know, if you can give Monty at the wafer thick, not the wafer thick,
wafer thin entertainment.
Wafer thin.
You do this every time.
I'm dyslexic. I flip things.
And
but anyways,
you've got to read it to be dyslexic.
Stop interrupting.
For the
right
audience out there, Monty has always takes my call. So if you can throw him a few bucks, he always brings me on. So
wafer thin. Say it.
Yeah, wafer thin entertainment. Right. Thanks, Monty. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you to Bruce also coming. And thank you, listeners, for sticking around. And if you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. I seem to be doing numbers, which kind of scares me because then YouTube will find out that I'm on there. But we'll figure. I'm also on Rumble and Odyssey, and that's the fun part of being on the internet nowadays. Basically, are you on YouTube? Yeah, and 17 other places because, stuff. So, yeah, that was Planet Collingwood. And just running out the clock. So I hope you're all well. Eat healthy, do some exercise. Don't judge people too much, and observe and don't engage is one way. No judgment in that respect. Have fun. That's the basically, and create something. Even if it's reorganizing your kitchen, do something creative, and you'll notice that you'll feel a bit better. So there you go. There it is. I was wondering where that was.
Thanks.
All right, Planet.
Nice.
Thank you,
Deacon.
Planet Collingwood will return in 6 days and 22 hours. I hope you'll see me in our orbit. Take care, everyone. I love you all from afar. We'll keep it that way as well. See ya.